Hey guys, it's been a while, and that's because I've been in my spiritual, quiet space that I need in a time like we are experiencing right now. And I don't do a lot of videos because of that, because I'm actually more so feeling and filtering the world around me. And so I'm here today to talk a little bit about everything that's going on in the world. And so I've decided to cover key topics here instead of veering off like I do so often in my videos. And the things I want to cover today is exactly what's going on in the world right now. And I want to cover that from the light bulb to the vehicle that we drive, to the food we eat, all the deception we're under. I'm covering that in this video. I'll be talking about technology and COVID and the vaccination. So hopefully you can make it to the end. I'm going to make this this straight to the point. And we're going to cover a lot in this video. We have a lot to cover, so it's been a lot that we've been going through right now. Okay, so I want to start this off by saying that most people on this channel have spiritual knowledge. That's why they're here. And a lot of us, you know, we get called conspiracy theorists. We're made to be the problem in society when really that isn't the case at all. People under false illusion and deception. A lot of people in power have bought other people. And so we are living in a world where we are under false illusion. And with knowledge and power, you know, things happen with that. It's like once you know the knowledge of God and some of the secrets, you know, it's like eating the tree of knowledge. You know, some of it is for spiritual enlightenment and growth and getting out of purgatory, because right now we are in purgatory. And I know this to be fact. Heaven is where you're alive, and heaven is where all is one in creation, and it's absolutely peaceful and love and harmony. That's not what this is here. So you have to recognize that we are amongst the dead. We are amongst the fallen. Here on earth, it is trial and tribulation. So we have to recognize that. And so when you understand God's knowledge, some people use it for personal gain. They use it for self-will, manifestation of self. And that's for personal gain. They could also use it against people. So we're talking about powers. You know, if I chose to use my powers in an evil way, I could control people, control thoughts, control, you know, illusions. It's like the craft. So right now our government has done that. They're using witchcraft right under our eyes and in plain eyesight. And so those that are awake, we can see that. And that's what's causing the diversity. We are separating ourselves from the masses. And it's most important to do that right now. Quick example of manifestation. So my third eye's open. It's been open since I was a baby. I was born with a dot on my forehead. My mom had it removed. You can still kind of see that. And so I guess what I'm saying is I was born with knowledge, being able to realm travel, see things, understand what's going on, and through that I understand that the perception of the mind creates your reality. And I've known that for many years, and I've been raised in a Christian family and still am Christian. And it should not be looked down on because you have your third eye awake. That's in the Bible. If the third eye is dark, the whole body be dark. It's written in the Bible. So, you know, I'm not going to get into logistics of religion and spiritual. It is what it is. So I'm trying to tell you that some people, they learn the knowledge and they use it for their own gain. So an example of that would be that this farmhouse in which I sit at right now. I recently got this house. It's new for me. I've had 8 months. I came from a modular in town to this place in the country. It's our dream. And there come a point in time where I felt like I was manifesting the house. And I prayed about it, and I realized that there was some point in time where it almost fell shy. I almost didn't get it. And I was sad at first. And then I was thinking, okay, it's all right. God, I know that for some reason this house isn't for us. And I let that negative emotion go. And once I did that, the house landed in my lap. Now, if I would have continued on with that negative emotion, that feeling of loss, that feeling of defeat, then I would have lost this house. We would never have been here. And that's the fine line trickery. The manifestation, if you manifest something on your own and you continue to manifest it without seeking the will of God, using your own will, you could get the house and it will end in destruction. It could end in fire. There's protections that we have that we don't understand. And so we always have to look at the positive side. So if I wouldn't have got this house, yeah, I would have been bothered, but I would have let it go without basking in these negative energies. Because if I would have done that, it would have further caused me destruction. And by not doing that, we ended up getting the house. The devil's always trying to trick you. And I know this was God-giving and in God's will that we be here. And so you always have to reach inside yourself, pray, ask God for protection and guidance, and understand that if something was to fall out of place, I wasn't mad because I understood and I was thankful. And instead of being mad at God or, being upset in life or feeling defeated, I said, thank you, God, for protecting me from something I could not see. And so that's just a fine line. But we're talking about the powers here, and that's what we're dealing with right now. Okay, so I'm going to start this by talking about the light bulb. Always when I was growing up, I didn't understand why Amish people didn't have lights in cars. And an Amish person, living in Indiana, we have Amish people up north in Goshen. And I have family in Goshen, so we used to get food from the Amish. And we asked them, when I was a little girl, I remember my grandma asking, what does your religion say? Because they're Christian. And they believe that the light bulb mimics God. And I could remember sitting in the car on my way home. It was about a 2.5-hour drive. And my grandma was like, I just don't understand why the light bulb would mimic God. That just makes no sense. And it wasn't until I was older, recently, actually, within the past couple years, that I realized how the light bulb does mimic God. And that the Amish are living correctly. I don't know all their things that they do, but as far as their basics, I can see from afar that they're doing what's right by God. And the reason why is your light bulb is energy of light. Who else is energy of light? It is God. God is energy of light. And I've seen God. And I've seen Jesus. And I know what I'm talking about. So that is number one. Number two is God didn't create the light bulb. Man did. So man is mimicking God by creating the light. Now, what does this do for us? It changes our biomechanism, our biomechanics, because we're supposed to govern off the sun and the moon, okay? Light and dark. So we have cycles that base our biometrics and our chemical systems from that. And I'm sorry, my voice is shaky. I'm cold. It was loud in my house, so I have my kids in there. But so anyhow, it's like a woman's, I'm going to give you an example. A woman's feminine cycle, their menstruation cycle, should always occur on the full moon, okay? Why does that not happen? It doesn't happen. All women should be basically having their release, which is the release of negative or wastes from your body. It's a release so you could generate new. This should always happen at the full moon. Now, what's the full moon represent? It's the release of negative, so you can start the new. And the whole thing with the light bulb is that it's an artificial light that disturbs the mechanisms of your body. So you're not allowed to govern off what God made for us. God made this system because he knows what's best for us. So now we are disrupted by artificial light, causing periods even to be off, women's cycles. It's causing disruptions in our biometrics. And this is where I now understand why the light bulb is a mimic of God, because it's artificial and is creating artificial body systems to develop within us that is not healthy and pure and holy. So that's something that we definitely need to pay attention to. And as far as our cars go, what I really realized about that is, there's always a negative and positive, just like the car battery has a negative and positive to generate movement. And, if you're negative, if you're too much negative, the car doesn't run. If you're too much positive, the car will catch on fire. Okay, so you got to have a balance. And what I realized is that it's a device to create transportation through a balance, but it's still godlike knowledge, knowing that the negative and positive things. And not only that, it's actually polluting the earth that God created. So, that's why they were horseback back in the day. Or, sorry, my nose is running. Even Jesus walked, and walking also benefits us, because if you walk barefooted, you are actually grounding yourself to earth, and you're actually making connections in nature. And that's necessary to grow and to excel the way you should and be one with all, with the earth and so on. So it gets very deep in nature and context, and people aren't aware of this because we are born into a false world, an illusionary world where all these things we're accustomed to. We are not taught what we should know. And that's why a lot of people like me, myself, I try to teach these things, because somewhere it's gotten lost, and that's what's causing the problems in the division and the diseases and everything that we're experiencing right now. Now I want to talk about the food. Okay, so we just talked about the light bulb and the cars, and now how does the food play effect? Okay, so the food plays effect because the Bible makes it clear that we are to eat seed-bearing fruits, things that are healthy and organic in nature, God-bearing and God-giving food. And this helps promote the God-like energy, the God-like protection within us. This promotes expansion. It keeps our body systems healthy. And so what has happened is, along the way, the government has taken over our food. And now we're eating GMOs. We're eating things that are genetically modified in labs. Things that aren't even good for us. Like, it's just a chemical. And so by doing so, we've conditioned our bodies to eat something that's toxic for us. And it's become a normal for us. And so, in a sense, we're eating devil's food. We are playing in the devil's playground. We are living from his artificial light, and now we're eating his food. It is holy and natural and organic to grow your own food and to harvest your own season and time. So we should be planning and eating our own food for good health, good nutrition, to keep our chakras and our systems aligned. This is imperial, and I don't even know that word, but I'm flowing right now. So imperial must mean something, because this is so important, because we have a third eye, okay, and it's up here. And I had watched a video by Untitled Waters, and he made a perfect example of this. And what he said was that, we call it the third eye in spiritual minds, okay, but the Bible talks about the third eye also. And he says, if this eye be dark, they all be dark. And I have the Bible down here, and I will find that for you in here in a second. I'll find that scripture for you, but it's so true. And what happens is, when we're eating heavy metal foods and toxic foods, it actually calcifies our pineal gland, which is our third eye. And calcify meaning that it hardens like stone. And without this third eye open and able to expand the knowledge of God, then we cannot see truth, or we don't have the light illuminating from us. And without the light, we only have darkness. And it's really important to be spiritually in tune. And without this being open, you're not going to get a spiritual advancement in the way you should. So it is a trick and deception when we're eating these toxic foods. It's a trick and deception to keep us from our God. We're eating out of the wrong hands when we eat this food. And it's just awful. It's just sad that people can't see it, And everybody is, I won't say everybody, but there's many people waking up to this. But, now we have to adjust. I'm not alone in this, and you're not alone in this. So I've had artificial lights. I have a vehicle out here. I've ate their foods. And so now it's time to cleanse, detox. It's time to rise in elevation, because we cannot transfer. And I'll get to what I mean by transfer, with heavy metals and things like that. And I actually said a prayer. So I want to tell you guys that I said a prayer, and I asked to stop drinking soda pop. And within 2 days, I woke up puking tobacco and soda. It was the worst thing when you puke that taste. Okay. I'm not gonna highlight that no more. Couldn't drink soda no more. And all of a sudden, I started becoming allergic to things that I never was allergic to before. I got a corn allergy and a gluten allergy. And there was no system, when they did testing, there's no system like results of an autoimmune disorder at this time. And so I've just understood that, I'm rising in vibration, and what has happened is that my body will not accept these foods anymore. And honestly, that's a great thing, and it's a blessing. And so I'm mentioning that because I know I can't be alone on that. There has to be more people that experience this. And so I want to let you know that it's just you're rising in elevation, and it's necessary, and it's going to help promote our growth. And so just recognize that you're not going to be able to eat the food you used to. And that's a good thing. So God's always protecting us. So to what Untitled Waters had said on one of his videos, he said that this year's about 2020 vision, and it is. And Some people will come to full 2020 and be able to see it for what it is. And some people will stay under the spell of illusion. And, it's awful to see. We have family members that aren't waking up. We have loved ones that we have to figure out how to separate ourselves from. This year has been a lot for us awakened, for us to come to the realization that we can't save everybody, and it's not easy. And on top of that, we're getting, I don't want to say persecuted, but we're really getting criticized for our beliefs. And now that will is trying to be stripped from us for many reasons. We are being made to be discredited. And just so you know, don't let this defeat you. Don't feel like you're crazy, okay? More people will awaken, and we just have to pray, but don't fall like victim to this. Like, stay true to yourself always. And what Infinite Waters was saying is that the third eye, and I would say this, I just don't know how he worded it, and it's not my words, so it's hard to just flow this part out, but he was explaining that the third eye is not really the third eye, it's the first eye, okay? And the world that we live in is backwards. We're made to believe one thing, but it's not true at all. And so we have to see the truth, and it's far different from what we've been born into. And so when somebody says third eye, it's really the first eye. And just like when you're seeing the word live or live, if you spell it backwards, it's evil. So it's all an illusionary trick. It's like Satan tries to mimic God on everything, and he destroys it by putting things backwards for us and making us fall under this illusionary spell. So I'm going to pull the Bible out and read this verse for you. Okay, right here, New International Version, the NIV. It says, "But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be of darkness. If then the light within you is dark, how greatness is the darkness." Okay, so the King James Version of that's Matthew 6:23. "But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. Thy be darkness, how great is the darkness." Okay, so the light activated is a light within your third eye. That's why when people see me, they're like, you just always have a light around you. You always glow, and it draws people to you, and it sets you apart from the dark, and that radiates around you. That is the seal. That's the mark of God. That is someone who is prophetically speaking, somebody who is advanced, someone who is learning. I'm not saying that that I couldn't do something wrong. I'm not saying that that I'm perfect. I'm saying that God's within me, and he's working on me every day, and that shines, that shows to people. And that's what this verse is talking about. So I wanted to make sure that I put that out there in regards to the penile gland, the third eye, how it's being calcified, how things are illusion to us. And, a lot of people are like, this is New Age talk. This is Buddha talk. No, this is in the Bible. Okay, so I'm not here to argue about religion. I am clearly religious, and there's partial truths to every religion. I'm not telling you to act as or be God. I'm just telling you to believe in your God, to go to your God. There is a fine line. And so, there's a lot of things happening. Churches are destructing. Churches should be teaching differently than they are. They should be telling more truth. They should be speaking things that the awakened are. And the awakened are often kind of sidetracked with the thought that they are God. And that's where they are going wrong. So there's a fine line. But you know what? It's the growth. It's the journey. We're here to learn, and we're here to grow each other. So with that being said, I'm going to continue with my purpose of this video. Okay, so now I'm going to jump in from the basics of light and vehicles and food, and I'm going to get into the heart of what we're dealing with now, which is technology. Technology has arisen quite fast on us. Time seems to be speeding up due to technology, and it's further propelling us to end times. And only an awoken spiritual person could understand that. I'm not going to try to break that down right now. But what I'm saying is that you really have to understand that, okay, so you have to understand that we're in a time where technology is everything, right? Technology is a device that connects us here. Okay, so we're plugging into the wrong source. This is a technology device that plugs us in to Satan's devices, Satan's plan, Satan's central connection. Okay, so we're all tied into this unit. It's like this. when you're tied into God and Jesus, you can go into a quiet spot in your mind and you could pray. You can talk to him. You can filter, you can channel, you can communicate. You can also telepathically communicate with other beings, and I won't get into that either. But that's just the central connection, the God connection within us. This is what I mean by that. The more people that are together in prayer, the more powerful that prayer becomes and impacts a manifestation, because God sees our prayers and hears our cries. And the more the number, the more coming together, the more powerful that chain, the more power of that light. You know, I'm just a little bit of a light. And in heaven, I'm this big of a light compared to God's massive overall light. He's everything. God is the light of the trees. And I've seen this, okay? I have seen this, and I promise you. God is everything. The light, the trees, the water, the sound of the choir. God is everything there. And here it's not like that. If we were connected in that kind of manner, we would already be in heaven. Okay, so we have to connect within ourselves, find like-minded people that are growing in the same way we are. We connect with those people we pray with, and we actually grow closer to God, and we learn how to better ourselves through that. This mechanism is the devil's plan. Devil wants to be God. Okay, so at this point, he's already mimicked God, but he don't want to just mimic God. He wants to be God. God is the only person that can hear your thoughts. Okay, now the devil has a device here that could hear your thoughts. You're plugging into the wrong source. Okay, so plugging into the source is causing the thoughts. See, you got a mind frequency that's put out in this phone. It recepts that. It understands how to read your thoughts. And I know that you guys have to understand me because you're on this channel, and I know what I'm talking about is true, so I don't really have to prove it. The thing is, you know, there ain't proof for everything. It's just if you have faith and trust and belief in the word and the prophetic speakers and the saints that are coming to tell you the same thing. You know, we're all saying the same thing in different words, and I have a real clear idea of what's happening. And since I've had such a diverse and different lives in comparison to a lot of other people, I can explain it in this way because it really, I can see both sides of realms. Okay, I soul travel naturally. I was born with the gift and the ability. So when I'm soul traveling, I'm experiencing realms, realities in life. I'm also experiencing the other side of purgatory. I can see that the mind creates false illusions in soul form. I can also see realms where people are driving cars and think they're alive. I see people that killed themselves in purgatory who are stuck in purgatory and they still believe that they're alive. Okay, all this has to do with expansion. If you're not expanding, rather in flesh or not, you're still stuck in this false illusionary realm. And the higher powers and people with knowledge, they know this and they know what they do. You are a replication of what you see and think. So basically what you think is what you see. And especially on these lower realms, for sure. In heaven, you go by based off of love and how you feel. And I just seen this, look at this moon. I'll turn this off and flip my camera around here in a minute so you can see it. But yeah, there's this moon back there. So that explains why my flow state is so clear and precise, and how this weekend has developed into a spiritual, I don't know. I just been in my spiritual flow, and my kids are wanting to do some stuff. So I wanted to get this out here so tomorrow I can enjoy the day with them. But, so I have a little paper here that I'm following to keep this on track. So we're up to 4 minutes and something. So I want to keep this flowing. And so give me just a second. I have this written down because it's not like I'm reading off my papers. It's not like I'm following a script here. But I wanted to highlight the key points of this discussion so that way I can hit on those and stick to those without getting off topic. And by doing so, I did write some Bible verses down here that's relevant to what I'm speaking about. And right here is Psalms 148. So that's 140 verse 8. It says, "Do not grant, O Lord, the desires of the wicked. Do not promote his evil device, that they not be exalted." Okay, so what I'm telling you is, don't promote the evil device. Don't be a part of the evil device. And yes, I'm still on it. I'm trying to figure out how to get off of it, but there's going to be coming a time soon that I'm forced off it. And I'll get into that. That's the power of what I'm getting at and what's to come with the COVID and the vaccinations. But right now I'm using it for a power tool to reach as many people as I can before that option goes away from me. And so it's just important to recognize that, you know, now the devil and the enemy, the person who is against God, who wants to be God, who was fallen for a reason. He's trying to trick us just like he tricked his angels. Just like he tricked his angels are now demons, you know? Okay, that Satan was an archangel. Let me explain that to you. He was an angel of God's. He knows God's blueprint and his plan and his knowledge. And then he used it against him and tried to be God. And so since he's an archangel, he had angels underneath him. He tricked all of his angels. So Satan's not the only one that fell out of heaven. It was also the angels with him who are now demons. And they get into people. They get into minds. You know, a lot of people don't understand what exactly is a demon possession. Everybody has something in them. In the Bible, and I don't know what verse it is, quote me. All you got to do is Google this question, and it says in the Bible that the body houses many members. That's the exact verse. So I don't know what verse it is exactly, but those are the exact words in that verse. The body houses many members. Okay, we are supposed to house the Holy Spirit. We ask God for guidance because we are not ourselves. And if we don't have the Holy Spirit in us, then we're susceptible to everything around us. These emotions we have, sadness, sickness, grief, and I don't know why I said sickness, but that too. But grief and anger and anything that's disruption from God and is an illusionary feeling. It's there because something is in us that is not holy and it needs fixed. And so I've done many videos about that, and I'm not going to keep talking about it. I'm telling you that God is able to hear our thoughts. When we go into silent prayer, but he could hear our thoughts. So now this device is interpreting thoughts. And so now the central mastermind of this device, I don't even want to say names. It's only obvious who's the richest man for making Microsoft. He now can interpret and hear our thoughts, okay? So it goes further than that. So now he could hear our thoughts, but what's he going to do with that? You know, he wants more power. He wants to be and he wants to see. He wants to know all. He wants to see through our eyes. He wants to be in control just like God can. But he's mimicking God and he's tricking and deceiving people in order to be able to do so. And so by this is where we get into COVID. All right, so COVID was created by the very man who is going to send us a cure. Okay? And it's like this. It's like they're all in cahoots together. They all work together, and they're trying to. I got a visitor, so I got to cut this quick. But they're all trying to control us and deceive us, and so we really have to focus on. And they're slowly getting out of the car, and I cannot talk in front of people. So, gotta wait a second. Just a quick second. Okay, I'm back. I sent them in the house because they know I get into my flow state and they got to go, yo. They got to go. But, so, this is the deal. When the COVID was invented, right? And it was man-made, and it was caused to further their agenda. And so, what do? They first cause diversion, separation. They separate us, right? That's what they want to do. The devil does that. He divides and conquers. And anytime you see diversion, like protests and race wars, this is caused by a mastermind who is behind the scenes making things seem like something it's not. We should always be at peace and one with it, unite within love. And this isn't happening because somebody's feeding the ear of these people. Somebody's feeding the souls of these people, and it's not holy. So in purgatory, in which we are living, and some people call it the matrix, that's just part of it, okay? And we were born into this, and we have to beat our way out of it. And in order to do that, usually when I see realms and other realities, and I experience them, so I know what I'm talking about as far as switching and being somewhere else in space and time. That happens because of the mindset and frequency, and I'm able to transfer. So, I'm so cold, I got to speed this up, but, so this is just part of it. Like, they want to leave us on this low negative mindset, this low negative frequency, to where, if they're not, in one way or another, no matter how you look at it, they're getting into us and lowering us, rather it be emotional diversity, rather it be separation, whether it be fear agenda based on this COVID. This is all the same thing, and that's where they want us. And holy and spiritual people have to remain in faith and in peace and love and in light. And they have to realize that these are false emotions and false deceptions that separate us from them. we come into a time where when we die, a lot of, but not always, unless you go to heaven, of course, but there's 7 realms under heaven, and there's also 7 realms of hell. So, you fall into these categories of where you go and how high you achieve, because Jesus came to save us. He doesn't want us left behind. He came for us to allow us to further everlasting life. It means to gain every bit of knowledge we need. And as long as we're right with God and we're in our learning process for the greater good and not causing the destruction, we excel on. And so most of the time I realize that when you die, because I soul travel, so I know what it's like to die. It's just the same thing. I can lay and see my body in bed. And when I soul travel and go to these other realms and lives and experiences, I can realize that I've already outgrown this world. I've already outgrown this perception of reality. I cannot be tricked like I once was. And so I've already learned a lot of knowledge from this metrics or from this purgatory, and I'm now able to excel. Does that mean I'm heaven worthy yet? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that I'm closer to heaven, and that I'm closer to God, and that I'm on my right narrow path to God, and that there is a place for me out there where it's more people like us, where it's more people who are studying. I had one lady out there in another realm, a futuristic realm. It's a vibration, a different vibration. You can only see it if you're matching that vibration. And I had a person there. They have cars. They have husbands, wives, cars, license plates. They have things. And, I've had one say, I've read many books about you. So I don't know if she's reading about me or if I've wrote books, but I do like to write. And I'm trying to tell you that this is a place of spiritual growth, and it's a place where there's less, there's still illusions there, but it's a place of less problems, less people that we see now trying to strip us of our will. We are amongst more of us. There will be more people like us there. And in that reality, where we still have houses and cars, and it's not like we're walking through walls. We think we have bodies there. We appear to have bodies. They can't walk through walls because their energy coexists with that wall. It's their physical reality. It is an advancement closer to heaven. And it is just, I don't know why the word empirical comes to mind, but empirical, whatever that means. Look it up. I have to Google it myself. When I'm in flow state, these words come. But it's just like a different paradigm of reality based on what's in your mind. And our goal is to try to get there. And the whole point of me saying this to you is that COVID was invented to cause all these things to keep us separated from our rise, because we're in the middle of a rise right now. And so furthermore, there's going to be coming times of there's going to be very hard times coming with the vaccination. And I'm going to tell you. Okay, let me see if you can see the moon yet. You see it back there? That is the moon. So I'll take a walk here in a minute and show you. But so to stay on task, I got to tell you about the vaccination. Okay, so the vaccination, it was about 3 months ago, and, a lot of my friends think I could be a science nerd because of my knowledge, but it's not science knowledge, it's metaphysical, spiritual, and it's on a realm that's given to me from a higher power. It's not of my own, and credit doesn't go to me, it goes to God. And I'm talking about the God of Jesus of Nazareth. It goes to God, not a God consciousness, not the universe. This goes to God. And I give him all the credit for anything, because I am not of myself. I am of the Holy Spirit within me. And to take credit for something like that would be witchcraft, and it would be selfish. And that's not what I'm about. What I was shown was knowledge that I didn't know in my human experience. And I'm also in the medical field. I have an associate's degree of applied science, and this is for nursing. And I have degrees in this area, so even knowing my degrees, I don't really know where this came from. I wasn't taught this, and I woke up with the knowledge that the vaccination would be giving us a different DNA. Okay, and this is the heart of the issue right now that we're currently dealing with. When you change your DNA structure, it's changed by an RNA, and so from what I understand, from being shown, it's very confusing. But the RNA seems to be like the processing thing that sends messages to the DNA, and an RNA pretty much is like the hard drive, of the computer system. And so this is important to understand like how the Gates Foundation and all of these people are replicating this. They're the computer, right? They made this hard drive. But you have a natural RNA hard drive that makes up your system as your DNA. It sends commands to your DNA to form this. Your genetics tell you what you will be. It tells you how to be, period. Okay, so what we're dealing with now is the enlightened people will tell you that their DNA is turning crystalline. And what this means is that God's DNA is a light-bearing DNA. And when you find God and you find truth in your prophetically speaking, when you're changing your foods, when you're filtering your world around you, when you are awoke and rising, when you rise, you change into a crystalline DNA in your body. And this is known by the awakened people. The New Age community know this. And why I'm telling you this is because you're coming like God, like you're making yourself a light body so you can transfer to higher frequencies of dimensions and realms, so that your level of reality and perception can change according to what you need to continue on growth. And what happens is with this vaccination is that they have decided to be God, not just mimic God. They want to be God. And by doing that, they're changing your DNA. And they are making it somewhat of a light crystalline DNA, but they're making it fake and artificial in order to control your thoughts and emotions, to control what you see. So this RNA that they're putting in you is an artificial RNA. And it's actually letting like little antenna-like robot type of device enter you, and it expands in your whole body. They know your system, they know your heart rate, they know your breath, they know your thoughts, your every move. They can see through your eyes. This is how they can be all, see all, and know all. Only God can do that. So they have taken it to the furthest level to where now they can act as God, because the devil got kicked out of heaven and rules this world because he thinks he is God. He's not God, but so many people are falling into this illusion, in that now they're being tricked into this. And it's so sad to see. And it's so sad. And I'm so thankful I'm awoken, but you must know that there are so many people out here that is not going to ever awaken from this. They are going to get bought. They're going to get paid to take this vaccine. And they are going to change. And they're not going to know that they're changing. You know, in the Bible it says that 1,000 years regained. 1,000 years go by, and there goes my light. Let me see if I can turn that back on. Hold on. I guess I can't. So that's weird. But I might have to turn the outside light on. Hold on just a second. Okay. Let there be light. Even though it's artificial, we'll work on getting that fixed. Because, like I said here before too long, we're going to have to go all natural, God-like, given. We need to live as for God. And so things are going to change for us. Now, this is where it comes into play, where things will change for us. There comes a time where, and it's coming, to where a lot of people are going to refuse the vaccination. And it's so crazy, because what I had seen was like that they were going to make us, or they were going to offer us money to take the vaccine. And right now, it is, what is the date? It's like 2 days after Thanksgiving. So I would say it's November 27th, 2020. Okay, this time hasn't came yet, but there's coming a time here soon where they're going to offer us, say, $15,000 to $2,000 to take the vaccination. Now, the reason why is because right now about 50% of us won't take it. But if they pay us to take it, it's a different story. We got people in poverty, people in poverty that will take it. The first to be targeted is government assistant people that are on HUD. If they don't take it, they lose their house. If they don't take it, then they can't get food. This is a government system. So on food stamps, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get to send your kids to public schools. I'm a healthcare worker, and most likely I'm not going to be able to work without the vaccination. Okay, there's a lot of things, and this has been in effect, and it started back when Obama was in. He set the stage for this. 2016, he put in basically a law that I am tracked, and now my employer has to track me on my phone. I'm a home healthcare traveling nurse, and I have to basically have GPS on me at all times, and my patients have to sign or digitally show their face, either that or sign, for me to even clock in or clock out. So they know my location, they know everything. This was put into effect by Obama and was said that if it wasn't passed and done by January 2020, then my employer would be fined. Okay, this is against my constitutional rights. I know this, but if I want a job, I have to continue to let them track me. Okay, without technology and without being hooked to the system, I wouldn't be working right now because it wouldn't be acceptable for me to say I refuse. Okay, it's the same thing coming up. I'm a healthcare worker. The first person they're going to want tested is me. Okay, so I'm going to have to get a vaccination. I'm not going to get it. I will be unemployed before I get it. Most likely, even if my boss didn't want to mandate it, she probably would have to. The owner of my company would have to mandate according to state laws and statutes set forth by the government. She would not be able to bill Medicaid recipients or Medicare recipients, which is the majority of our income at this big company, if we didn't do as the government mandates. They wouldn't pay us for these services. So the company would go under. So you understand, people are going to be bought. People are going to be bought. And I'm not going to be bought. So rather that be I lose everything I have than I lose it. And it goes back to living on the land. You're cut off from the government foods that are killing you anyway. You don't eat off the hand that kills you. Can't. You got to live off God's hand. It's like you're picking or choosing sides. If you choose against the side, then you go back to God. And in God's world and in God's creation, He don't want the artificial light. He don't want the cars. He don't want the foods that we eat. He's not approvable of that. We're supposed to be eating off the land, living like back in the times where we sowed and worked and harvest our own food, live by the seasons and the changes and the moon and the sun, and live by the things governed for us that God put in place so we can promote health within ourselves, so we can promote spiritual growth, so that way when we leave this world, we can go to those higher realms for further advancement instead of being lost in this illusion. You know, they say that in the Bible, somewhere in Revelations, it does say that when the veil is lifted, everybody will see what they did wrong. It's too late then. You have to find yourself now. You have to stand your ground. So if that means losing everything you have for God, then that means losing it. If that means getting killed for it, then that means you're going to die for your God. And so I'm not trying to put this fear base in you. I'm just saying we should not be forced. We should automatically do what we need to do. But at this time, it's possible that we have to be forced to make these decisions to pick a side, because we can't ride on both fences. We can't have one God and eat out of the hand of another. And that's where we're at with this. All right, so I want to end this soon, but I got to tell you another thing. Got on my paper because there's a Bible verse I want to mention here. And this is my favorite, one of my favorite all-time Bible verses. And this is Ephesians 6:12. And it states, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against authorities, against I can't read my own writing, but it's against the powers of the dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms." Like I said before, you have heavenly realms, 7, and you have 7 hellish realms, okay? These people that are following the mark and going down the hellish realms continue to see in their own reality and perception, they're going to see things that we aren't. So they're united as one in the fall. And we are united as one in the rise. And so that's a big difference for us, because we are able to see. And therefore, what I'm trying to tell you is that when we know, we see our perception. This is a cardinal rule. This is just part of it. I know this from realm jumps and traveling, that whatever is in the mind is what we see in our reality. We're not going to see our death, okay? Nothing's going to look different to us. When we exceed this realm, when we expand, we go on to another realm of living and learning. And it looks really similar to this one. And I'm not going to tell you that. Just right here will tell you the spiritual forces are even in the heavenly realms. The spiritual forces of the evil. I'm not talking about being in heaven. I'm talking about the realms to heaven. And even though we are on our way, new level, new devil, okay, there's going to be times where we have to discern, you know, but right now we are discerning. And there's lessons like that later in life, to where, especially once you know your power and your gifts and your abilities and you're able to manifest these things, there's still a devil lurking somewhere saying, but now you're God. Now you can create. Now you can do. Now you can have it all. Okay, so you're still learning even in these higher realms. And so I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be a perfect world, but I'm telling you it's going to be exactly what you need it to be. If you can grow and excel, activate your own godlike DNA, activate your own chakra alignment, activate your own elevation, raise your own mind frequency, not artificially. Once you get there, your reality changes. Everything you dreamed of can happen. Everything that you felt like you should do, but you were limiting yourself, now you can do it. Now you're in a place where you're able to grow and be who you are within. You know, you're able to home in on your true passions and your gifts, that's God-given gifts, and you're able to make a difference in the world that way. This is the expansion. This is where we are at. The people that are logged on this channel, that's where we are at. We're not falling for the deception. So I'm not making this a fear-based tactic. I'm not telling you that you won't go into tribulation. I've just said that. But in the end, you're going to advance somewhere along the way. And there's a part of us that we don't understand what exactly going to happen. We don't understand if the realm of the fallen is just going to see us for what we are, like a shell, if we're going to even be there, if we're going to be, is there going to be a left behind thing or we vanish? Nobody really knows that, but we know something's coming. The spiritual people know that. The Christians know that. We all know it's coming. And what I've seen from realm jumps is I could be somewhere else, but I still have this life right now. This is a lower version of me, but I have higher versions of self. I'm awake in this reality. I'm not awake in that. It's not until I go to sleep here that I'm awake there, okay? So you're able to be more than one place at one time and only be aware of that current reality that you see. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It doesn't mean that people will get the version of you that basically the worst version you ever had would be the version of you that other people see walking around. It's not that you're there. Sometimes people are way up here and you're getting versions of them that only reflect based on what you put out. And that's getting deep. And I know some of you on this channel will understand what I'm saying. And so we're talking, the main thing I'm getting to with the ending of this video is that 2012 will be, 2021. It'll be December 21st, 2021 is a big time for us. And it's a replication or a spinoff of the whole Mayan calendar ending December 21st of 2012. 2012 was supposed to be end of times, okay? So we have been in a spell or a stage, I wouldn't say spell, and I'm sorry my camera's shaky, but I'm freezing. But we've been in a stage of recognizing things that we need to fall out of. We've been noticing things that are limiting us, and that's for the awakened. The ones that aren't awakened are actually seeing more bad, more chaos, more destruction, more sadness. And so this is a time, nobody exactly knows what's going to happen. December 21st, 2020, mark your calendar for that, because this is a time where Jupiter and Saturn are going to collide realms. And I do believe that it's going to be a visionary thing that we could see through our telescopes. And as it's going to change the world. That's the day of the change. And it's going to open a lot of people's minds. But at the same time, it's going to be an end, and it's going to be a beginning to something. And so by that time, you want to talk about a reset. By this time, you have to have your reset prepared. You have to be prepared for which path you're taking. And this is a big time. And like I said, you might not be visibly shown. You might just wake up and, after 2021 passed, or December 21st, 2020 passed, you might just feel like, today I feel good. Today I'm more enlightened. Today I am on my path to where I'm meant to be. I'm still in the same house. I still am alive. Everything's working out according to your own thoughts. That's what you'll see. So it's not like a big time, oh my gosh, where's everybody at? Everybody died. I'm just whatever. It's not that. It's just that the people with a really negative, ill will mind, or somebody that's really lost in purgatory, their illusions will continue to expand. And so for the people that are taking this mark, that are in this illusion, they'll continue to fall under that spell. You pick sides right now. What side are you on? You pick your side, and you are awoke. So you have to really have to home in on that right now. And so you should be eating healthy. You should be doing whatever you can to rise your body's elevation. So that way you could coexist with a realm of reality that is lighter than this one. And so eating healthy, have no negative mindsets. Look and focus on positives. Search within yourself. Find yourself and pray. Pray often. God will protect you. And so I know I'm so cold and freezing. And so I pretty much think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. And I know that I just kind of left you guys hanging on the December 21st. Gosh. I left you hanging on that. And the reason why I have left you hanging is because nobody really knows. Okay. Jesus doesn't speak about what's to come. We just know it's coming. I feel like it could be a realm jump and transferring into a new reality, just as I explained. It could be a part where we are in destruction and tribulation, to where we have to separate ourselves from the devices and really separate ourselves from the world. And we have to realize that Jesus overcame the world, and so we can separate ourselves from that. And we must overcome the world. We cannot just be conformed to the world. This is not the world that we want to be in forever. We chose to seek the higher God, to seek the highest, most high. We want to go to heaven. We want to promote love. We want to do all this, and God knows our will. And so that's why we are allowed for everlasting life. And nobody's going to force you to do anything. It's just that you are going to be separated, and you are going to be categorized, and you're going to be, a lot of us will be persecuted, it says in the Bible, but it's part of it. Sorry, I have a phone call. We just have to really try to change our perception of our reality and really focus on the good things to come out of this. Before I go, I wrote this down because I want you guys to know what this says. It's a Bible verse, Revelations 25. It says, "But the rest of the dead did not live again until 1,000 years were finished." This is the first resurrection. I want to explain to you that we are already dead. Okay, just know that. We're not alive until we go to heaven. So how could you manifest, and how could people put illusions in front of your eyes and deceive you? It's because we're already dead. That happens in purgatory. It's part of it. Okay? You are what you believe you are. You are a body because you believe you're a body, when technically you're a soul. And inside that soul, there's another vehicle, and that's energy. And that's your final and most powerfulest body, and that's your God body. Okay, so we're 3 vehicles out right now. 3 bodies out. And so, I'm so cold out here. I'm shaky. But so when it says that, but the rest of the dead did not live again. Okay. The dead is us. We did not live again. The dead that does live again is the people that go to heaven, the people that awake. Okay. And again, that's the Revelations 2:5. It was 1,000 years. Okay, so I'm going to read this again. "But the rest of the dead did not live again until 1,000 years were finished." This was the first resurrection. And so when even the Christians, I have a Christian family who really have a hard time. They know my truth, and they know what I speak, and it resonates with them so well, but they'll often say, like, you cannot see spirits. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as dead people and realms and lives. Yeah, there is. It speaks of the heavenly realms in the Bible. It's not speaking of heaven when it speaks of heavenly realms and the evil in it. And it's also the fact that I see souls and demons and devils and spirits and even angels is because we are spirit. We're not body like you think we are. And you got to read the Bible out of spirit form. Your spiritual higher mind, your third eye, your light. That is how you read that Bible. A lot of people can't. It's hard. And so the dead didn't live again until 1,000 years were finished. That means that they're under the spell. So this coming up December 21st, 2020, I feel like that it's possible that time may be stopped for those people. Time may be stopped. They are under an illusion. Okay, when illusion happens, it could feel like 1,000 years passed, but it could be a day. They're under an illusion, and I'm talking about a day to Jesus. It's like until that veil is lifted from them, and in the Bible it does say at the end that veil will be lifted from them, it's too late. They see the destruction around them. They see the world for what it is, the destruction, because the good's gone. The world could be in fire. It's like you could be walking through fire and not even know it. We're already dead, so we only believe what we see, but technically the earth could be burning. So that's why when in the end of the Revelations it says that they walked out of the smoke, or they walked out of the fire, but they didn't even smell like smoke. It's because we are under an illusion. Okay, purgatory is an illusion. All right, so Revelations 20, verse 6. It says, "Blessed is who has put in the first resurrection." Blessed is those in the first resurrection. Okay, so meaning that you're blessed if you're resurrected right now. Now is time to be resurrected into a higher state of consciousness and mind. Rising. Resurrection means rise. Okay? We're already awoke. We're not dead. It's time for us to rise. All right. It says, over such the second death has no power. No power is the second death. But they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall regain with him 1,000 years. We still have time. We still have time to get it right. Okay? This is for us. And so I'm going to read that again, so a little bit slower so you can understand. But at Revelations 20, verse 6, blessed and holy is he who put in the first resurrection. He who has put in the first resurrection. Over such the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall regain with him 1,000 years. Okay, we are in this time, in my opinion, and I am not God, and I do not know, but from the signs, from a prophetic and saint-like view, I'm telling you that December 21st is very powerful this year, okay? And so, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, and pretty much that's the last Bible quote I had, and I just ask that you do this. You read in your Bible. So like I said, we have 2020 vision right now, and that came from Infinite Waters, and it was just a word that he said, and it really resonated with me. And so I want you guys to look up Bible verses in regards to 2020. So we got Leviticus 2020, Numbers 2020, Deuteronomy 2020, Judges 2020, 1 Samuel 2020. 1 Kings 2020. I've read these all, and they have an impact of what's happening now. The Bible has ways and numbers and like things for you to reference, and this is I'm trying to tell you how to read the passages in regards to things that can help you in this time frame. 1 Samuel 2020, 1 Kings 2020, 2 Kings 2020, 2 Chronicles 2020, Proverbs 2020, Ezekiel 2020, Exodus 2020, Matthew 2020, Luke 2020, John 2020, and Acts 2020. So if you want to get some more insight about current times, those are passages in the Bible that will help make sense of your personal experience and growth at this time frame. And so I hope this finds you all well. I am freezing, but I'm not getting off here without showing you the moon, because it is beautiful. So let's see if I can do it this way. You see that? So, a lot of people think it's time for craziness to come out, and it's a time for, I'm trying to unzoom my face, hold on a minute. So that's the moon tonight. So basically, it's a time, the moons signify, I can't even talk right now, change, right? You gotta, it's really just, it's not really change, it's more so, taking your results for the past month or your past life cycle or your time and season, and you're supposed to let go of negative. All right, the people that are negative experience more negative because it amplifies anything within you. So if you're negative, you're going to amplify the negative. If you're happy, the positivity is amplified. This is a time for cleansing and starting over. Any full moon. And so don't always fear everything. I'm not saying that the universe and the moon or the sun is God. It's not. I'm saying that God created these things for signs and seasons to come. You guys, God bless you. Prayers are with you always. And look at that beautiful Christmas tree in there. God's good. God's definitely good. And so I will be back as soon as I can with more. Thank you.